The individual time trial is affectionately known as the race of truth. There's nowhere to hide, no teammates to help you, no peloton to seek shelter from the wind, no one to set the tempo. It's the rider, their bike, the road, and the elements against the clock. It can be a lonely place, but Australians have developed a great reputation in this race. 4 former under-23 world champions take the start line in the elite men's race, plus triple world champion Michael Rogers. Michael Hepburn and Felicity Wardlaw, they return to defend their titles. Luke Durbridge and Shara Gillow are out to win them back, while others, they have their own plans. It's a new course, searching for a new champion. Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Miles Scotson Australia Road National Championships. We're in Buninyong on the outskirts of Ballarat and it's individual time trial day. I'm Matthew Keenan, joined by Phil Liggett and Rochelle Gilmore. Phil, this has long been called the Race of Truth, and for good reason.
For absolutely good reason, and none better than today, because this is a new course. It's extremely hard. It's not a flat road. It's not just man against the watch. It's also man against the elements here, because as they return to the finish, there's a series of hills. It's a very hard course, Matt, and I think could lead to a surprise winner.
Rochelle, have you had a chance to take a look at the course yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard a lot about it, especially that it's really, really difficult on the way back. So it's I think the stronger riders, we want to see how Shara Gillow is going to go. She lost the title last year and wanting to get that back this year.
And in the women's race, we've had news that Katrin Garfoot, one of the pre-race favourites, won't be starting because of a knee injury. There's a good opportunity for Shara Gillow.
Yeah, like last year, she was very disappointed to lose the title, so I think she'll be very hungry to get it back. But she'll have a, tough competition on her hands there with Felicity Wardlaw, the reigning champion.
In the elite men's, we've got 10 riders that can potentially win this race, including the 3-time world champion Michael Rogers, but he's not necessarily the favourite, nor's the defending champion Michael Hepburn. It's wide open.
It is wide open, and this is a world-class time trial with all the best Australian men are here. People are going for Rowan Dennis, but watch out for a surprise, possibly the 3-time champion Rogers.
And don't forget Richie Porte. Under 23s, they're racing as well, where we'll see Robert Power and Jack Haig, two of the rising stars of Australian cycling. Let's get to the action. Nervous moments before the start for many of the under-23 men in the individual time trial. Last-minute preparations. Oscar Stevenson for the African Wildlife Safari team, one of the riders to watch. The commissaires checking all the equipment, make sure they pass regulation, while Scott McGorry is with some of the favourites.
Harry, 12 months ago, it was only tenths of a second the difference between first and second. You were second. I guess you're here for redemption.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year was, I was aiming for the podium last year, so I was pretty happy with that. But either way, 0.2 of a second is hard to take. So definitely a bit of extra motivation for today.
I think the time trialists will still go well, but it'll give some of the riders who maybe aren't pure time trialists, like Robert Power or Jack Haig, someone like that, a bit more of a chance, and they'll be right up there as well.
It is quite hilly out there, and luckily it's not windy yet. Yesterday was really windy when we rode the course, just made it even harder. Yeah, we'll see how we go. There's obviously a lot of good guys here, including the SASI guys are probably the major competition, as well as Oscar Stevenson from the VIS. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
A new course this year for the individual time trial. This is the circuit for the under-23 men and the women, the elite women as well. It is just inside 30 kilometres. It's a simple out and back circuit, Phil, but there's barely a flat stretch of road.
Absolutely, long exposed roads too, and the weather conditions I think will change literally by the hour.
This is the start for Alistair Donoghue. Paracyclist world champion. He's out on course riding for the Search to Retain team, and he's a rider that's been getting good results throughout 2014, and the confidence is beginning to build.
Well, he's had a very good ride indeed too as he comes up towards the finishing line here. He's been setting the mark all the way along the course, and his final time 40 minutes and 28 seconds.
Mitchell Cooper now, one of the Victorians, riding for the Saddlers squad, which is actually a Western Australian-based team, as Donoghue watches nervously from the hot seat.
Yes, he's in the hot seat with the best time, as we now see again Cooper coming up here towards the finishing line.
40 minutes and 19 seconds for Mitchell Cooper. He's the new best time. He sits in the hot seat and he awaits the arrival of some big favourites still to come.
Countdown for the South Australian here, Tom Keisler. Now the wind is still moderate here. It's very, very good racing conditions. Although the clouds are rolling in. Out on course though, we're getting good reports because this man has set the best time at halfway, and the best time now, 40 minutes and 6 seconds. We're getting close to the 40-minute barrier.
Measuring the effort is also important. It's a tailwind out, a headwind back. You need something in reserve. Angus Lyons, he arrives with some good form after a strong performance at the Mitchelton Bay Cycling Classic.
Yes, we've come to know him over the last week or so, and he's launched himself out of the start house. The finish is on his right shoulder when he comes back. Now he's going out into the country. And these are the long straight roads you were talking about, Matt.
He finished his VCE, or Year 12, qualified out of high school at the end of 2014, and he was in the top 2% in the state. So he's bright and he's strong. He's got a big future in front of him, Angus Lyons.
Well, Tom Kayser at the finish line. He knows that Angus Lyons 5 seconds slower at the turn. Now, has he slowed even more as he approaches the line? I think he has, because this series of hills into the finish. Does he confirm it? Yes, it does. Into second place, 40 minutes 25.36.
It hurt him on the way home. Here's Alexander Edmondson. Fourth in the criterium last night, a dual world champion on the track, Olympic representative as well. This is a discipline where he can really perform on the road. He knows what's required against the clock. And the South Australians, they've got such a strong contingent. Oscar Stevenson, he arrives with brilliant form on the back of winning the Tour of Bright.
The 19-year-old launches from the house here now as he sets the long ride along the course out to the far turn. If they've got to really measure the effort on the way out because of this series of hills as they come back.
This is Alexander Edmondson. He's on the tough part of the course, but he's still in the big chain ring and he's staying cool, calm and collected.
And you caught a glimpse there of the hills that he now faces, because Edmondson at the turn has set the best time so far, 17 minutes and 5 seconds.
And that'll be a good boost to his morale. He's moving along strongly. And Oscar Stevenson, he goes to the midway point. He's about to make the turn, and it's a new best time. His average speed to this point, 52.5 kilometres per hour. That is extraordinary.
It is, and that's a reckoning because of the weather conditions here, but he's got the tough leg to go back now. Jack Haig here in the start house and Bendigo. He was third in the Road Race Championship 2 years ago. Now, can he go one better here, even two?
It's his last chance because he moves up to the elite category at the end of the season. Oscar Stevenson, his Facebook update, or his father's at least, and his Twitter, has been busy with images from Ballarat throughout the last month. Coming towards the finish line, this is Dave Edwards, the silver last night in the criterium. He moves himself up into second or third position for now for Edwards. Here comes Oscar Stevenson, looking to set a new best time. Stevenson, he goes to the top of the leaderboard. It's 38 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, that is an absolutely superb time for Oscar Stevenson. He now goes number one. We've reshuffled the leaderboard. The village of Buninyong is nestled in the hills just outside Ballarat on the Midland Highway towards Geelong. On weekends you'll find farmers' markets overflowing with local produce, local winemakers showcasing their drops, and quirky cafes housed in Gold Rush era buildings. Like many of the region's Gold Rush era villages, the town has undergone a recent renaissance. These wide tree-lined streets and boulevards now house funky restaurants, shops and cafes.
The under-23 men's time trial, it's Oscar Stevenson with the fastest time. Next rider out from the South Australian Institute of Sport, Miles Scotson. In fact, he's the second last rider to start. After him will be another South Australian, Harry Carpenter.
Scotson here, third last year, and Carpenter, who goes a minute behind him. He was the runner-up a year ago. Now we'll see what he can do. A year older, a year wiser, and as you can see, the flags are fluttering just a little bit. Conditions might be stiffening up, but this man getting on with the job.
He does have an advantage being the second last rider to start, in that he'll get the time checks throughout the course. When he hits the halfway point, he'll know exactly where he stands against his rivals.
Well, we've seen him in action all week, and he's been riding very, very strongly. Here's Harry Carpenter now, another South Australian here. They really do produce the riders from South Australia, I must say. Runner-up a year ago.
They've been rolling them out on the photocopier because they all look the same. About 6 foot tall, dark hair, strong time trialists and good riders on the track. they're doing something right in South Australia.
They most certainly are. We're out on course here now, and it looks to me as though Miles Scotson has caught the rider who started a minute in front of him.
Which is Jack Haig, who has been signed up by the Orica Green Edge team as one of the big rising stars of Australian cycling. So Miles Scotson is putting his name on the map, and firmly so, as Jack Haig. That would be a real dent to his morale to see the man who started a minute behind him overtake him.
Absolutely, he's bridged that minute. We're going down to the turn here now, and the watches are suggesting he's conceded 15 seconds to Scotson on his way down to that turn.
That was Harry Carpenter momentarily as we rejoin Miles Scotson 2 kilometres away from the finish, and he's on target for a new best time with just one rider left behind him, and that is Harry Carpenter.
Yes, and Carpenter is losing all the way here. Now, as we get down towards the turn, these are the trio in the medal positions at the finish, but it's going to change because, in fact, Scotson's come round the turn with the best time of 16:27.
But it's going to be close. He's fading towards the finish. It's the time of Oscar Stevenson, 38:40. That's the time to beat. Miles Scotson is closing in. He looks to the clock. He's almost there, but he's not home just as yet. Oscar will be watching nervously. You can see the mouth is wide open. He knows the task in front of him, looking for 38:40. He gets 38:36. New best time, Miles Scotson.
And time's indicating he's over a minute ahead of Carpenter, so he'll win gold.
And Oscar Stevenson, he was in the hot seat for so long, he slips down to silver. Second place. Here comes Jack Haig, third position for now with one rider still to come, Harry Carpenter. And it's going to be tight between those two for bronze.
Well, job done for Miles Scotson here. He really has turned on the start. He gets gold for the first time in his career. Here is the lonely figure of Harry Carpenter coming home. He's conceded over a minute to Scotson, so it will be third place for him.
The bronze medal for Harry Carpenter after the silver a year ago. So Miles Scotson will go out the winner. 2 South Australians and a Victorian on the podium. Miles Scotson going out the winner with an average speed of 53.6 kilometres per hour. Extraordinary. Here he is with Scott McGrory as he celebrates.
Being a track rider, I think one of the advantages was out there that some of the bits were so fast on the way out, it was really high cadence, which I used my the track legs, the advantage, could really tip the gear over, and had to just tough it out on the way back on the drags. It didn't suit me as much.
Only 3 seconds off being the Australian champion. Does that hurt just a little bit?
Yeah, it definitely hurts after 38 minutes of pain, but yeah, I did everything I could, so Miles really deserved that. I couldn't have gone any harder, so he really gave it everything I had. So.
A good return for Oscar Stevenson 6 months ago with a fractured pelvis. Harry Carpenter collecting the bronze medal. Oscar, he gets the silver, and the gold medal goes to Miles Scotson, the big Mars bar as well, as he gets the Australian champions jersey. Behind them, it was Jack Haig in 4th position. Alexander Edmondson rounded out the top 5. What a great performance it was by the South Australians. The women, they're getting ready to go as Shara Gillow joins Phil Liggett to call all the action in the battle for the coveted green and gold jersey. Stay with us, all the action after this.
Ballarat is a bustling regional city with grand old boulevards and heritage buildings providing a picturesque backdrop for a lively and modern city. Great cafes, wonderful restaurants featuring local produce, and some of the best antique and vintage shops in Australia can all be found here. The city is rich in culture, one of Victoria's must-see destinations. And back in Buninyong now, no sooner have the under-23 men finished, but the women are now going on the same course, 29.3 kilometres. And I have to say, the wind is now beginning to rise, so this might cause a slowing of the time and indeed make the course a lot more difficult.
You love these things. Time trials are your bag. How do you think you're going to go?
I want to win, absolutely. That's why I'm here. It's my 10th consecutive national championships. That's 10 years of no fruit mince pies over Christmas.
Although, yeah, there is a fair bit of hill work, I think it'll come down to executing a really smart pacing strategy.
It's tough. Yeah, I think even just riding it easy is tough. So I think the strongest and the best time trialist today will win.
Well, that's for sure. There are two races, the under-23 women and the elite, and this lady, Ellen Skerritt, qualifies for the under-23 title. She's second rider away.
She'd have to be one of the favourites, Phil, today for the under-23 title. She's been taking this very, very seriously. She was second in the NRS series last year, in 2014, and she said that the time trial is one of her big targets this year.
So Skerritt nicely into a rhythm here, and we have to remember that riders from Queensland have always excelled in this championship in the years gone by. She carries their colours today. Back in the start house here is Alison Rice, another qualifier in the under-23 from the ACT.
Well, she was a silver medalist at the Oceania Games in 2014. This is Ellen Skerritt again. Looks like she's in a good rhythm. She's one of the favourites for the under-23 championship.
Well, she's termed with the best time at 20 minutes 43 seconds, so she's certainly going to set the marker 5 kilometres from the finish. This is Rebecca Mackey here from West Australia, a medalist yesterday in the circuit race as well. Now look at this, Alison Rice here is coming up on the back wheel of the woman who started just in front of her, Geraldine Blomfield-Brown from New South Wales, and has cruised by her on these climbs.
Well, you can see the rider she passed was in the drops. It looks like they're going uphill a little bit here, so Alison Rice is in that position where she's putting out the power, and you can see how tough that climb is.
Let's get back to the finish, because this is the arrival of Ellen Skerritt, second to start, first back to the finish though, so she'll set the marker for everyone to beat now. 46 minutes 37.27, the time to beat.
Well, she'll have to move to the hot seat and sit there now for a little while. It's a very difficult place to sit.
Now, is this going to improve it? Because here comes Alison Rice now up the home straight. She's looking at the time of Skerritt. Hits the line. And it's a good time, 47.17, but it won't be good enough to take over from Skerritt. That's been a very good ride by Skerritt.
Well, Alison Rice, there she is. Ellen Skerritt sitting in the middle there in the hot seat. It'll be interesting to see how long she can stay there. Alison Rice on your screen now.
It doesn't look too bad, because I tell you, conditions are much harder now than they were for the under-23 men, and these long dragging roads out in the countryside hurt, believe me. Now Rebecca Mackey is riding well. She's got a good time, best time so far at the checkpoint, almost inside 90 minutes, 20 minutes to 1 second.
Well, she's racing for the under-23 championship, Phil, so she might be able to knock Ellen Skerritt not only off the hot seat there, but also off the championship podium.
Janelle Cox takes her departure while we go back down to the finishing line now to pick up Rebecca Mackey here from West Australia. Best time, 45.55. She really held on well from that far turn, so she's going to be told now she's heading on stage to sit in the hot seat in goal position.
Well, it looks like she's just got the good news there. And this is Louisa Lobigs in the start gate.
Now all of the riders leaving from now on. They're qualifying for the elite professional women's championship here as Lobigs gets away for the ACT and settles down quickly. The road down to the turn, the same turns we used in the men, is basically undulated, but nothing like as difficult as the return back, and that's where everybody is slipping up. This is Taryn Heather here now from South Australia. Likely a good ride expected from her.
Absolutely. She is one of the strongest time triallers, even on world level overseas in Europe. So she'll be one that will be vying for the national championship today. Definitely would have specialised in preparing for this event.
And Louisa Lobigs hits the line, 46.30, and that will sit in second position at the moment. But look at this battle on the return here, out on the highway.
Oh, that looks tough out there. Taryn Heather's just passed Lauren Kitchen. Lauren Kitchen, she's had a very, very busy last couple of weeks.
Mackey and Lobigs on stage watching this lady Wardlaw about to start. She's the defending champion. If you're looking for something to do with a family this summer, Ballarat certainly has a lot to offer. There's the Ballarat Wildlife Park, where you can feed the animals. The world-famous Sovereign Hill, which brings Gold Rush history back to life. And Ballarat's two newest attractions, Cryal Castle, a medieval-themed adventure park, and the Museum of Australian Democracy at Eureka. And as the championship continues, it's still Rebecca Mackey in the finish house with the best time. She's under 23 as well. This is Bridie O'Donnell, who won this title back in 2008 and is now 40 years of age and amongst the fancied riders today.
Well, Phil, she's a doctor with a full-time job, but she's also one of the favourites here at the National Championships.
Well, this is Taryn Heather. She's turned in the second best time, 19 minutes 45, and she's heading up towards the finish now. And this could be the first woman to better the time of Rebecca Mackey. She hits the line. She was 15 seconds up at the turn. She's more now. Best time, 45 minutes and 30 seconds for Taryn Heather. She goes top of the leaderboard.
She'll be happy with that ride, but she's got to wait now for the other two strong riders, Bridie O'Donnell and Shara Gillow, to come in. So here's Shara Gillow, thumbs up. She's happy on the start line, ready to go.
Well, the last 4 years she's medalled. 3 of them she's been the champion, second last year. Now she wants that title back.
It was a little bit of a surprise last year, Phil, that she came second. A lot of people just naturally expect Shara Gillow to win this time trial championship, so she'll be very hungry to get that title back today.
Including Shara Gillow, I might add, Rochelle. She's on her way anyway. Now, can she reclaim the championship? For 3 years she made her own. Now, Bridie O'Donnell is heading down to the turn, and she looks as though she's got a rhythm here. The reports say she's riding very closely to the time at this point of Taryn Heather, so they're going neck and neck down to the turn.
Well, she looks very professional, Phil. I think she's one of those riders that has done it for so many years. This is Felicity Wardlaw on the start line.
Little bit of a surprise victory, I think it's fair to say, last year for Felicity, but she's a year on now, and she's a very determined lady from Victoria. She's the last woman to go as the defending champion. We're catching up now with Shara Gillow. These are the long, horrible drags, and they hurt.
Well, you can see that bump on her back. That's the race radio. She'll have her director back in the car giving her instruction and motivation and encouragement to push it out on this uphill bit.
Well, ahead of Shara Gillow is Bridie O'Donnell by a minute. They're both racing down to the turn. Bridie is here, and as she gets to the turn, we're going to hear the time, and she's got the best time, 19 minutes 42 seconds, so she's ahead of Taryn Heather here now.
Well, she's gone out very, very strong, Phil. We saw that she just looked so fantastic going down to that corner. It'll be interesting to see if Shara Gillow can make any time on the way back. They see each other there.
Whoa.
They see the time difference.
Well, there's no doubt Shara Gillow is going to make that turn with the best time. She's catching, in fact, Bridie O'Donnell. She is round. The time says 19 minutes and 9 seconds. She is well on her way to catching Bridie O'Donnell.
Well, it'll all be about who's paced themselves the best coming into the halfway point there, Phil, and it's a very tough circuit on the way back, so you can see, in sight now, it's coming down.
These are the long climbs. These gradients are around about 10 and 12%, and they seem to go on for 1 or 2 kilometres. And certainly Bridie O'Donnell is in the gun sights as Shara Gillow there. This is the defending champion Wardlaw. She's gone down with a time of 19 minutes and 44. So she is conceding 35 seconds to Shara Gillow, who wants her title back.
Well, this will be motivating for her to have Bridie O'Donnell in sight and just that person there to, encourage her to push on and something to chase. It always helps to have somebody out there to chase.
Well, Felicity is really giving this her best shot. The long, lonely road now of the defending champion as she races back towards Buninyong. There's a series of 3 climbs. If you haven't saved anything for those 3 climbs, they will grab you and spit you out. This is now on the road is Shara Gillow. 3 times the gold medalist. She's right on the back of the 2008 champion. She's slipping into the straight. She's bridged 1 minute to Bridie O'Donnell, and she goes smoothly over the top. This is going to be the best time in the finish. Will it survive? The one rider left to finish. Shara Gillow hits the line. The time on the line is 44 minutes and 21 seconds. That, I think, will be the champion's time today. Bridie loses 1 minute and 1 second, 45.22 for her. Only 1 rider to finish.
Well, the interesting thing will be, would that be enough for Bridie O'Donnell to take second? This is Felicity Wardlaw, so we're about to get her time and see how she went against Shara Gillow and, more interestingly, Bridie O'Donnell, the close race for second.
And Felicity comes up to the line with a time of 45 minutes and 56 seconds. And I'm afraid that puts her out of the medals this time.
She just got the signal there from the partner on the side of the road, just giving her a little bit of comfort. Here's the replay. Shara Gillow came home very, very, very strong.
Well, it looks like a sprint finish, but Shara Gillow had bridged the gap of 1 minute to win this time trial for the 4th time in 5 years.
This is my 7th year, and I've gotten six medals before, and this is my 4th national title. So it's really nice. I think knowing, I got 2nd last year and lost to Jersey. I had it 3 years in a row, and I just realised how special it is actually to wear the colours.
It was one of the hardest rides I've ever had in really tough conditions. It doesn't look like a very challenging course, but it's just relentless without any flat sections, without a rhythm.
Well, first let's have a look at the 3 medalists in the under-23. Rebecca Mackey in the black getting the gold ahead of Ellen Skerritt and Janelle Crux. While in the elite professional women, a return to the top for Shara Gillow. But what a great ride by Bridie O'Donnell at 40 years of age to get the silver medal, and in 3rd place there was Taryn Heather. Just confirm all of those results. O'Donnell in 2nd, Taryn Heather 3rd. Rebecca Mackey there in 4th is the under-23 champion. The defending champion Felicity Wardlaw finished in 5th place this time. Well, up next is the titanic clash of all of the best time trialists in Australia, and some say in the world, as they come together to fight out their title. The historical villages surrounding Ballarat are a real treasure. Just 10 minutes away, Creswick's main street is busting with great cafes. A must-see is the Forest Resort with a world-class championship golf course. There's fishing, vineyards, amazing food. Another gem is Buninyong, a small village just out of the regional city of Ballarat, well known for its glorious Gold Rush era architecture and magnificent streetscapes. Host to this year's individual time trial and road race.
Michael Rogers making his way into the start area, former Australian champion, triple world champion. Richie Porte for Team Sky, one of the big favourites. Campbell Flakemore, the under-23 world champion. The new course on the outskirts of Buninyong, they take in the first part of what we've seen for the women's and the under-23s. They then go a little bit further, and this is where it gets difficult because they go into the shadows of a wind farm. It's relatively still, but it's sure to be difficult out there.
Okay, Luke, you've won this thing before. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Yep, ready to go.
Summer training back in Western Australia. You love it over there in the sunshine. Rain here, though. Is that going to be any sort of factor?
No, mate. As hard as you can go.
I'm certainly feeling quite optimistic. Also a little bit curious how I can go out there. I haven't done a time trial for a while, since actually the tour. So it'll be interesting.
I think if you're 5% off today on this course, it could be your day done and dusted. So I think it'll be fair. It's definitely the honest course anyway. I think the winner today deserves it, and hands down to him.
It is hard, but the harder it is, the better it is, I think. It'll really show who the stronger guys are, and obviously the weather is throwing a few things at us as well, but it's best man to win no matter what.
Richie, looks like Tasmanian conditions out there. The rain's coming down. You must be happy about it.
I'm not about happy, but can't do much about it. It's the same for everybody, so it's nice that wind's now died down, so hopefully for a safe race.
You've been out on the course several times now. What do you think about it? Does it really suit your characteristics?
Yeah, I think it's much harder coming back than going out, but look, I hope it does, and I think I'm in good condition, so I'm up for it.
We'll find out soon enough just how good his condition is. This is Jack Bobridge, world record holder in the individual pursuit. New colours this season for the South Australian is with budget forklifts.
Yes, Porte will start 3 minutes after Jack Bobridge, but remember that Jack Bobridge is going for the world hour record, so I suspect that he's in good form. But look at the weather, it's really turned against the race.
And you would suspect that it will suit Richie Porte as a Tasmanian.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Matt. But the way he's talking, he's very, very confident. But look at this now, these roads are slick, but it's dead straight at 1 or 2 swooping bends.
Here is Bobridge, under-23 world champion in 2009, Australian road champion just a few years ago with what was a stunning display in the heats. Desperately tough conditions today, but of a different kind.
And the fastest man in the world over 4 kilometres, so we'll see what he can do over 40.9 kilometres now. I have a feeling he's going to give us a good performance. Let's go back to the start. A man who's won the world title as a youngster, Campbell Flakemore.
And he did it by hair's breadth. 5 seconds to countdown for the Tasmanian.
Well, out on course now, and look at this. We haven't got to the turn yet, but Jack Bobridge is bridging a 2-minute gap here to Nicholas Scolari and going straight by.
And that is good for his morale to pick the riders up in front of him. It gives something to chase, something to target, and now he's on to the next one.
Well, I've got a feeling about Jack Bobridge today, but let's go back now because here is Richie Porte. Yesterday I saw him ride this time trial course twice in strong winds. Today there's not too much wind, but there's an awful lot of rain.
He concedes himself he had a disastrous 2014 because of illness. But these men are enjoying themselves as Campbell Flakemore makes his way to the turnaround points.
Well, Flakemore is making that turn in 26 minutes and 3 seconds. His turn time. He's up amongst it at the moment.
And chasing him is Richie Porte. Richie Porte started 1 minute behind Campbell Flakemore. He's made up a fair bit of ground on him at the halfway point. Richie Porte, he's not quite the quickest, but he is close to it.
Porte has made the turn. His turn time is 25 minutes 21 seconds. Now, has he saved a little bit for the return? Because I think the rider that holds back and keeps it for the return will be the winner today.
Measure the effort, it is all important. And Richie Porte, he has performed so well against the clock in Europe, particularly as he went to success at Paris-Nice back in 2013. He's now caught Campbell Flakemore. Let's not forget Campbell is the under-23 world champion, and Richie has blown by.
Well, I wonder what Flakemore thinks of that. That's a terrific performance by Richie Porte, the man who became the first Australian to win Paris-Nice. Let's go back down. This is the arrival of Jack Bobridge. Best time.
52 minutes and 17 seconds. It's more than 2 minutes faster than Lockie Norris, who was the quickest to that point. The level has stepped up.
I knew he was firing today now. This man's done it all before. 3 times he's been the world champion. Michael Rogers. This could be a course for him today.
The last time trial he rode was at the Tour de France in July. But for Richie Porte, July was disappointing for him. He went to the Tour to support Chris Froome. He's only supporting Richie Porte today, and he's doing a brilliant job.
Richie had such a bad luck season last year, ill health, but he's come out fighting this time. He's picking them off one by one. Will
Clark it is this time, so he's caught 2 Tasmanians that started in front of him. So at the very least, he's winning the state title, but the national title is up for grabs.
Well, he'll be on nodding terms with them, that's for sure. The man in black moving on yet another rise here. They're incessant as they roll towards the finishing line in Buninyong. This is Michael Rogers going out towards the turn. He's flying.
And what will he make of Richie Porte when he sees on the road that Richie Porte has been catching those men starting 1 and 2 minutes in front of him?
Impressive is the word. He's really mastered this course. He was full of compliments despite the high winds when he trained on it yesterday. He knows that this sort of undulation course is not for the pure time trialist, it's for the strong long distance road racing cyclist.
Rowan Dennis in the starter's hands, one of the big pre-race favourites. He's the name that kept popping up.
You're right, he's the hottest favourite of the race and up against the classiest time trialist in Australia as well.
Rowan Dennis, he made it pretty clear at the launch of this event that it was the time trial that he wanted. He rolls down the ramp. He is chasing Michael Rogers out on course, and there's just 4 riders left to come.
He makes his start. Here's the arrival now of Richie Porte. All the times are indicating he's going to blow the clock apart. He's still going to set the best time here as Porte comes up to the line. Here comes the marker for the 6 riders left behind him because it's 51 minutes, 50 seconds.
Porte goes to the top of the leaderboard. He's got the best time. He sits nervously. He watches 6 to come, including the defending champion. Into Mount Mercer with Michael Rogers, but there's bad news arriving because Rowan Dennis is coming.
Look at this. Rowan Dennis, the hot favourite on Team BMC, the same team, by the way, as Cadell Evans, as he now gets Michael Rogers, 3 times the world champion, right in his gun sights.
He was so unfortunate not to win the final stage of the Tour of Spain last year. It was a time trial.
He was.
The rain tumbled down, took the win away from him. He finished second.
Fitting today because the rain is momentarily dry, but it's going to come back, I can tell you now. Let's go back down to the finish now. Porte is still on top here.
Campbell Flakemore making his way through. This is Nicholas Scolari in the blue and back. Campbell Flakemore now coming through, and he stops the clock. He's outside the time of Richie Porte, so he won't be challenging for the medals.
That's for sure. Porte passed him soon after the turn as they continue to come in. Porte's time survives. He looks very lonely up there waiting for this race to finish. Is he going to win his first ever gold medal in this discipline in Australia?
Ben Dybel, former under-23 road race Australian champion. The time trial, though, not quite his forte, but one of the late starters. There's 3 more to come after him, including Howson, Durbridge, Hepburn, all from Orica Green Edge.
What 3 riders they are too. Let's go out to the lonely figure now of Michael Rogers. He's about to feel a tornado blast by, because this is Rowan Dennis. Changed his line there quickly to go over the top. Rogers puts his head down and Dennis moves off.
Did not acknowledge him,
No.
wanted to ignore it, stick to the numbers. There's nothing he can do about the speed of Rowan Dennis.
Well, Dennis is heading down towards the turn now. Now, Porte is not the fastest time at the turn. That's still Jack Bobridge down there who holds it. Porte's in second place, and it looks as though Dennis is going even quicker.
But now Michael Rogers is starting to pay a little bit of attention to him and use him as something to measure his effort off. Try and keep Rowan Dennis in contact, and Rogers might still be in with a chance for a medal.
The first of the 3 Orica Green Edge riders to go, Damien Howson, the bronze medal last year. He launches now into the race. Can he convert that to gold?
Howson, and then it will be Durbridge and Hepburn still to come. The elite men's time trial at the Mars Cycling Australia Road National Championships. There's Luke Durbridge in the starter's hands. After him will be the defending champion, Michael Hepburn. Richie Porte has the time to beat. It is then Jack Bobridge in second position, with currently Campbell Flakemore in third. But Rowan Dennis is setting a blistering time out on course.
The rain continues to fall. Big effort by the man who won this title in 2012 and 2013. Those big legs, they call him Turbo Durbo. He's on his way.
He wants the title back, but Rowan Dennis, he wants to stop him, because at the midway point, Rowan Dennis is some 32 seconds quicker than Richie Porte. Just 5 kilometres remaining for Rowan Dennis.
But what are 5 kilometres, Matt? This is where the hills ripple towards the finish. They are real climbs here. Look at the face of Rowan Dennis. He wants this so much, but is he coming back as quick as Richie Porte? The clocks are telling us he's beginning to lose time, and look, he's not really got his rhythm now.
You mentioned he wants this so much, that might be the problem. Perhaps he's gone out just a little bit too quick. Ben Dybel, the next in sight, Damien Howson.
No indication yet as to where he sits among the leaderboard, but he certainly looks to be going well.
Richie Porte, he sits at the finish line and he watches the clock, because the next to arrive will be Rowan Dennis. 51 minutes, 50 seconds. That's the time to beat for the South Australian.
Well, all eyes are up the road to watch this. This is the man everybody was talking about now. Has he lost time? He was up on Porte at the turn, but indications are he struggled a little bit on the running. It's all going to come down to the line. 51.50, the time to beat as he crosses the line. Rowan Dennis has done 51 minutes, 58 seconds. He loses by 8.
Second position, so the second half of the course, he's lost almost
Absolutely.
40 seconds.
Absolutely. This is now back on course with Luke Durbridge here. Michael Hepburn, the defending champion, will be the last man to take to the start. As we watch here now further along the road, the arrival of Michael Rogers, but I think he struggled a little bit today.
He has, Michael Rogers. This isn't the sort of performance we're accustomed to. The Australian champion from 2009. He will be inside the top 10, but not good enough to challenge for a medal. 2 minutes, 25 seconds slower than Richie Porte. The last man to start, Michael Hepburn, the defending champion.
And the last of the 3 Orica Green Edge riders, and this is the man who won the title 1 year ago.
Vastly different course this year. It was flat and suited a big, strong man a year ago. This time around, however, it's lumpy. It's more for the climbers.
And the weather conditions pretty much even across the board for all of the riders in this event. The rain comes and goes, but basically everybody's had a dousing here. Now it's up to this man. He's got to hold his rhythm as he goes down to that far turn, and he knows he's got a very fast time to beat.
He's got the big gear rolling. This could prove to be a difficult national championships for the Orica Green Edge team. He's making the turn, Hepburn, and he is off the pace. Hepburn goes through with the 5th fastest time, and he's more than 1 minute down on the time of Richie Porte at the turnaround points.
And did you see how gently he took that turn? He really lost time there.
Here comes Damien Howson.
Yes, and Ben Dybel, he's caught Ben Dybel for a minute and passed him. Ben Dybel's done well to keep him in his gun sights. Damien Howson, 3rd last year, comes up towards the line this time around. 4th place as he crosses the line for Damien Howson with a time of 53.14.
And Ben Dybel, he is further down the leaderboard. He'll slot inside the top 10, but only just. 2 riders left to finish, Luke Durbridge and Michael Hepburn.
Well, I think Damien Housen will be a little bit sorry that he's not in a medal position, but let's see if Luke Durbridge's teammates can improve on that. Durbridge, the former champion, looking a little bit laborious coming up here with the sprint. Quicker than Housen, but only 4th place. Durbridge off the podium as well.
So Orica Green Edge with 1 rider to come, Michael Hepburn. Porte is celebrating with Andrew Christie Johnson, his former team manager, who also congratulates Rowan Dennis. Here comes the defending champion. Hepburn will have to settle for 7th position this time through, and you can see he's despondent as he crosses the line.
But for Richie Porte, 2015 has started in the best possible manner. He's a champion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a happy boy. Just got engaged a few days ago, and now, you know, to win this time trial against such a class field, you know, it's fantastic. I mean, problem for me last year is my health, and it looks like I'm back on top of it. It's, you know, I'm thrilled to bits to win this, and you know, what a great podium we've got. So, you know, I think it was a great course for me. It was great to have Andrew Christie Johnson of Vanty Racing behind me. It was like being back in the old days. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was difficult. I didn't think I was going as hard as what I was on the way out. I was still holding back a little bit, but that second half, I knew it was going to be a lot tougher, but I didn't expect it to be quite that tough. It was a little bit of a shock.
Like I said before the start too, it's obviously an honest course, so honest winner today. So, but to come away with 3rd, I'm still super happy. But obviously Richie just it was another level today, so you've got to take your hat off to him. I'm absolutely thrilled to have this jersey right in Europe, you know, with a national time trial championship jersey, and you know, just exciting. Can't wait.
Here's the podium, the top 3 place getters. The bronze medal going to Jack Bobridge, riding for one of the local team's budget forklifts. Rowan Dennis, a South Australian, like Jack Bobridge, he gets the silver, riding for BMC. And it is Richie Porte, the new Australian champion. He has stood on the podium with bronze in the road race. He gets gold in the time trial, a perfect start to 2015. It was Durbridge in 4th, followed by Housen in 5th place. The individual time trial, the race of truth. It didn't disappoint. Shara Gillow, good to see her back.
Good to see her back. A silver medal last year, but she got her own back today.
That's her 4th individual time trial title. She'll be one to watch on Saturday. In the elite men's, what a class podium it was. Richie Porte by 7.5 seconds ahead of Rowan Dennis.
I can't believe we waited so long to see this man finally get the gold medal in the time trial.
And he could potentially do the double. He'll be one to watch on Sunday, along, of course, with Cadell Evans. The under-23s, that was taken out by Miles Scotson. He's a rider on the rise. Plenty more action to come from Ballarat and Buninyong with the Mars Cycling Australia Road National Championships. Saturday, it's the under-23 men and the elite women. Then on Sunday, it's the elite men's road race.